Well, hello, folks. Tony Howard here with Astrology University, and I'd like to tell you about our upcoming summit that I'm very excited about. And the summit takes place April 13th and 14th, 2019. And our title this time is 2020 Epic Cycles of Change and Renewal, Aligning Intention with Vision and Action. I hope you can tune in. We have an amazing lineup of speakers, including Hadley Fitzgerald, who's with us today to tell us a little bit about her presentation, Frank Clifford, Nick Hagan-Best, Lynn Bell, Lawrence Hillman, Stephen Forrest, Demetra George, Mark Jones, Kelly Surtees, Melanie Reinhart, Jessica Murray, Grace Morris, myself, my lovely co-host Alex Garrett, and then we have some bonus material as well that I'll tell you about here at the end of our talk today. But I'd like to talk to Hadley. And Hadley, thanks for joining me today. And can you tell folks a little bit about your presentation for the summit, which is going to be called Seeing the Capricorn Stellium Through the Eyes of the Heart?
Yes, well, it's been a very interesting process because as I started, when you first spoke to me about being on the summit, I started thinking about it on another level and about the stellium, and the thing that just emerged for me was that it's in an Earth sign. Cardinal Earth sign, Capricorn, and it's going to be there. And then the stellium has our focus for the next couple of years. And Uranus is going to be in Taurus, another Earth sign, for quite a time beyond this particular configuration. And so that, and then of course we have Neptune, in the background. We've got these large cycles and these powerful outer planets all operating in concert, but our focus is on the Capricorn stellium. And so I thought, and with Uranus and Taurus, there's a lot of focus here really on the earth element. And as I looked at that more and more and more, and we can see the way the world is going, there are going to be these life-changing events that are likely to touch our personal and our collective lives in both broad and really profound ways over the next several years. Something's being set in motion, and it's not being set in motion in a vacuum. There are points of reference going back even into the 90s here. But I think we're looking at, in various ways, just given the nature of the planets and the signs involved, we're going to be dealing with new limitations, new boundaries. Disciplines are going to be presenting themselves to us amidst these transformations. And as a therapist, I look at it on another level too, and I think there's going to be a hunger for structure and certainty that could have us forgetting that so much activity in one corner, let's say, of the cardinal Grand Cross, signs, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Libra, it can have us forgetting that as we focus in this one corner, that there are these other signs that are just intrinsically connected as well. And we can't let what they represent go into shadow and be kind of pushed aside as, well, they're not quite relevant right now. So we know what happens when we have the consequences of pushing something into the shadow. So I'm with Rick Tarnas and I think with many other astrologers at Astrology University, where astrology is archetypally predictive. It doesn't tell us about specific events. And so we never know exactly how these powerful configurations are going to manifest, but being informed about the nature of them and their range of potential manifestations helps us respond to them less reactively and more consciously. And that's where I'm aiming my thinking these days. How can we think into and feel into what is possibly going to be transpiring? So I see it as in our quest to participate as consciously as possible in this archetypal field. And it seems, it's an evolutionary necessity. These are the aspects that are showing up now. It's time to deal with them. There's a certain rigor to what is likely to be coming, and that will mean to me that we need to keep our hearts open as we go through these various transformations. And there will be many attempts to really narrow our focus, and our humanity will want to narrow our focus, but keeping our hearts open and our perspective wider than the immediate focus, I think is going to be important. And that means to me that there's an element of courage that's being called for in terms of the Aries part of the grand square. Certainly an element of caring that is going to come very, very much into focus, through Cancer. And we need to be connected more and more with one another and see our parts as a whole system, which is the Libra focus. And this is not just with one another, but what has come through to me so much in this is the need to be connected to the earth herself. And the real profundity of that has just been really touching my heart a lot as I've been looking at kind of what wants to be said as part of this summit. So I also see that there are generations now in their 20s that are, they're coming of age. They were born during the Uranus-Neptune conjunction in Capricorn. And that to me has become quite an interesting jumping off point that I'm going to be touching on as well. But they're maturing into their adulthood, and they are really being confronted with all sorts of changes on the planet, in our life here on the planet. So I think we have to pay attention to what kind of support and mentoring will be needed for what they see coming and what they're going to be dealing with as they, marry and have families and jobs and make their way in the world. And I think the earth changes that are being very dramatically brought to our attention are going to demand that we explore all the things that are contained in that word earth. The word art is in there. The word here is in there. We move a letter around and we get the word hearth. And we've taken the earth for granted for a very long time. And I think now we have an astrological perspective that can be very valuable in giving us a different perspective on our relationship to the earth. So that's what I'm going to be talking about.
Awesome. That's a great point about the people with the Capricorn Stelliums, because I was just thinking, if you have your Saturn in Capricorn, then you're in for a very special Saturn return. This isn't your everyday Saturn return. And if you have one of those Capricorn stelliums and you're getting contact with some of this big lineup, it's a certain amount of developmental pressure just to have a stellium in your birth chart, but then to have a kind of a stellium transit that stellium, that's pretty intense. Yeah. So this is a time of increased pressure for those folks as well, around whatever those issues signify for them in their personal lives. And I love what you said too about the qualities that people might not, the qualities that people might underrepresent as a result of overemphasizing the Capricorn energy that's pouring in. Because I think a lot of people hear astrologers talk about cycles, and we all try to say a little bit about what it could be, even if, like you said, astrology is archetypally predictive. We're still trying to describe the weather pattern, and but people want to know, okay, what can I do, or what should I do, or what's a good use of my energy? And so just having that awareness that there could be more of an imbalance towards the Capricorn side of the equation right now, and to think about the polarity, and then the signs and the squares as well, and how those might inform.
Yeah, a wider embrace, that like for an opposition with Cancer to Capricorn, or Capricorn to Cancer, we look across someplace, but we can also look to the side, to Aries and Libra, and how do we call in? Because again, it's a whole system. Astrology is this marvelous archetypal ecosystem, and then here we are on Earth in this exquisite ecosystem, and they're not unrelated, and there's some kind of different thinking that's being called for now. Obviously, we see young people out, in climate change protests and so forth. So there's really something happening. And I came of age in the 60s when there was really something happening, and I could feel it. And that was in Virgo. That was Uranus Pluto. You're very familiar with that. And I could feel it viscerally at that time in my life. And I think that's one of the things that Earth gives us, is the visceral experience.
Yeah, for sure. And these energies are kind of going out with the bang because they're really headed towards a shift into air signs. So we're seeing these last degrees of Capricorn triggered. So making a loud statement, but also finishing something up in some way, or at least challenging us to finish something up in some way. I think when we look back at the previous cycles, you can see every manifestation of it. You can see things kind of wrapped up nicely, but you see a lot of things that weren't wrapped up at all. And they're just like, that discussion has been tabled for later, the next time that Saturn.
Well, in therapy, we call it unfinished business.
Yeah, the unfinished business, exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for taking some time out to chat with me today. I can't wait to hear the long version of this talk. And for folks, if you would like to sign up, you can head over to astrologyuniversity.com/summit. Believe it or not, it is free to watch the summit for both days live. So if you're able to tune in April 13th and 14th, 2019, you can watch at no charge. If you're catching this YouTube video or this audio recording after the summit, don't worry, you can still head over to that same address, astrologyuniversity.com/summit, and you can get the recordings there. Also, if you're not able to make the summit live, we have an option there for you to get the All Access Pass. And the All Access Pass includes all of the recordings, plus a few bonuses, including some bonuses with Ray Grossi. So an extra lecture that he's prepared just for this summit that you can only get through the All Access Pass. And as you're kind of drilling down in those, there's also an offer that includes talks with Karen Homaker-Zondag and Jason Hawley. So definitely watch those as you're kind of signing up, and you'll see the options to get those as well. But again, to watch the summit live, all you have to do is sign up. You'll just enter your name and your email address in the fields there when you click that button to sign up. So I hope you can join us. The last summit was amazing. This one's going to be even better, I'm sure. And I'm really glad that you took some time out to chat with me and Hadley today. And we hope to see you there soon. All right, take care, folks, and we'll see you soon.